Who is Octavia Saturday? Well, Octavia is one of the best humans I know. Her constant love and support as my friend keeps me alive and motivated and moving forward. She picks me up when I fall down, and I'll always try to do the same for her. She's also magic as fuck and knows more about tarot and astrology than I ever will and doesn't mind breaking it down for me. She's the best. Matt, chaostarot.com. Octavia Saturday is the real deal when it comes to tarot, astrology, and root work. She's extremely knowledgeable at all levels of the occult. Not only has she become my bestest friend over the years, she is my go-to tarot reader, astrologist, and the only person I found that can help me decode my dreams and interpret them correctly when I get stuck. She's one of the most supportive people in my life, and without her love and support, I wouldn't have the meme empire I do now. She has been my secret weapon helping me control the chaos in the comment section of my page, and without her, I'd probably be locked up in a padded room. I love you, boo. Ricky Baker, the narcoleptic goddess. Octavia. We bonded like that, didn't we? It's rare when you meet a soul who feels like family right off the bat. You've been there for me and understood the things I was going through without judgment, and your advice has pulled me through so much. Not to mention just randomly sending me the best deck I've ever had. Dude, you are a diamond in the rough, and I love you so, so much. You really know how to be a friend, and I admire everything about you. Riverstone. Octavia's guidance has led me to some of the best decisions of my life, and she's been a true friend to me through the years. I am so infinitely grateful for her presence in my life. Iris E. Octavia is always a chill presence who brightens any space she's in. Benjamin Beardsley. Octavia is my most trusted friend, as well as being an absolute wellspring of genius digital creativity and a paragon of excellent taste in general. She is also probably the most talented tarot reader I have ever known. On a personal level, she often brightens my day with her irreverent sense of humor. I think the world of her. Al Terry. One of my favorite people. If ever being part of a notorious Facebook magic group gave me something good, it has been your friendship. You are one of the kindest and wittiest people I've ever met, and I'm grateful for you looking out for me and having my back. You've always supported my art and been such an inspiration to me. Thank you for being my friend. I love you. Jess Norris. Octavia is fly AF. She's the OGBTGG. She's always struck me as really cool, and she's a ridiculously talented reader, and she's hot AF. She's literally the coolest girl. I'm a total fangirl. I adore her and respect the fuck out of her. Julia Ewing. Octavia was there for me during one of the most terrifying, upsetting parts of my life. As I lost everything and was plagued by insecurity and doubt, Octavia made me feel good about myself, was kind to me, made me feel beautiful and worthy of attention and kindness. That little bit of unexpected kindness in a storm of depression gave me the hope I needed. Octavia is a great person and an amazing friend. Octavia, my go-to reader, my friend and confidant, hilarious meme dealer, and strong supporter of others doing their thing genuinely. I also really enjoy the flip side of that, where she calls the fuck out of people who aren't genuine and have hidden agendas. Always a pleasure to shoot the shit with, and continually brings a smile to my face when she laughs at my poop jokes. Adam Borison. A strong-willed creative with a magnetic approach who I am happy to share my corner of internet with. Kevin Brown, tarot reader. Lots of love for you, Octavia. Pray hand emoji. Octavia is a rock-steady badass, and her lunar check-ins are not to be missed. Her aesthetic is perennially on point. She is not only a no-bullshit character, but kind as well. T. Sterling Hart. I love Octavia. She has helped me so much. Samantha Moreno. A true meme lord in the finest sense of the word. Will Moore. Every time I talk to Octavia, I am reminded of the dread in knowing that they exist. They are not human, they come from beyond. I am reminded of the cults in Louisiana, debaucherous scallywags who dance to the atonal bone music. I am reminded that I do not have the constitution nor the mental fortitude to endure knowing they breathe and walk among us. I am reminded of Rob Zombie. Damn this curse of joy and fear of alligator people. Damn it all. Iggy. So, this is CMN. Welcome, everybody. I'm Shaky Metaphysics Kennedy, and welcome to Chaos Magic News, the only media outlet banned under the Geneva Convention. Octavia Saturday is our guest for today's interview. They're a professional occultist. I've seen you call yourself a swamp witch a bunch, which I fucking love.
Yeah, I like that one. It's on my business card.
That's I need better business cards.
I get some strange looks.
They were introduced to magic at a fairly young age, and chaos magic has been their focus since about 2014. In 2018, they've started doing magic professionally. Through Petite Botanica, they offer their services, divination, astrology, even small batch root work supplies. They got hoodoo, they got woo-woo, they got stuff you ain't even tried. They're incredibly active on Instagram. I don't go a day without checking their lunar influence posts to see what I'm in for that day. Their current self-described soapbox is techmagic. They're also a writer and currently working on 3 books, which blows my mind because I can barely manage to juggle this podcast, all the articles for the site.
I stay so busy. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I know, it's absolutely insane. Well, Octavia, how you doing?
I'm doing good, real good.
That's awesome. So,
yeah.
all the interviews we've spun out so far, we've started with this question, and I don't see any reason to break from it now, but why should you care about chaos magic?
Why should anyone care? Or
yeah.
Just me personally?
Well, anyone.
I don't know, it's that they should. I don't know. But honestly, to be totally honest, but I don't know. I guess I'll say it's like there's a freedom there that you don't get anywhere else. And it's more engaging because of that. As far as like being able to include whatever paradigm you want, you know. Whereas a lot of the traditional systems are just very limiting and not as much fun, I guess I want to say.
Yeah.
So if you want a good time, that's what you should go for. I don't know that anybody should. I mean, do what you want, you know? I don't care.
Well, I mean, I do think it's a good argument, though. It's like, if you want to have fun, I mean, if you want to,
it's much more interesting.
If you want to spend like 75 hours figuring out, the intense background required to do fucking PGM stuff, cool. You're not gonna have nearly as much fun.
It's not as fun. It's not. And I like being able to switch around. Like I can study Taoist sorcery for 6 months and then apply it. Study something totally different for 6 months, apply it. And it's a layering thing, I guess. But it is more interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess I've been like studying for a very long time. And I kind of got into chaos magic much later in life. So that may be more important to me than somebody who's 20. Like it being fun, I guess I want to say.
Yeah. Well,
do you know what I mean? Why should a 20-year-old do it? I don't know.
I mean, well, it worked for me when I was 20, so.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with being 20, but I guess when I was 20, Crowley said, learn the basics before you chop it up, before you mix it up.
Yeah.
And that's arguably right or wrong, I guess, but I do think it's more useful. So when I was 20, I was studying more rigid systems.
Right, yeah. Talking earlier, and you mentioned that you were blessed by having a bunch of people with pretty serious practices that kind of introduced you in the beginning.
Amazing. I've had some amazing mentors from a very young age, and that was just, I got really lucky. I managed to grow up in a very diverse, eclectic area. That's a lot of it, but no, I did. I got lucky on that note. Yeah, I don't really know anything else except this weird shit. So it was my pre-adult mind just, molded into it. Yeah, I was 15 when I started like really working on stuff.
Nice. What kind of stuff were you doing when you were 15 then?
When I first started out, I was learning from 2 different sets of people kind of that did know each other, but there was a group of eclectic witches, some of which still practice here. There's one that's put out a few books, even on Llewellyn, but that wasn't my gig too much. But I did learn a lot from them. So, and then the other few people was just ceremonial stuff.
Okay.
A lot of planetary magic, but a lot of just the basics with that. And then I moved to New Orleans at a young age and learned about the rootwork stuff there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I lived there for a long time.
Nice. That's
I've lived all over. Like I lived in DC for a few years. I lived in Savannah. I was in LA for a year. Like I've traveled a lot and like learned a lot. That's what I've spent my life doing.
What state has the best magic people in it?
Oh my God. Michigan.
Ah, yeah,
Absolutely.
because I'm here. Got it.
Absolutely. Like Michigan gang all day long.
Yeah, when I moved here, I was astounded.
It's wild how big it is.
Yeah, like it's insane. And then I it was the weird thing of when I moved, people were asking me, you know, like online, people were asking me where I was moving to, and I was like, Michigan, like, no shit, that's where I'm at. And I realized, like, oh my God, they're fucking all over this place.
There's a lot of cool shit that happens up here. Most of the time I grew up here in Kalamazoo. So yeah, there's, as you probably know or have heard, like there's a huge occult community here. And that's a big reason I was lucky enough to jump on it so young. But Michigan is, yeah, wild. All my favorite people practice here. And not even in Kalamazoo, just all over Michigan.
Yeah. Well, you know, our mutual friend Matt from Chaos Tarot is totally.
I
you know,
love him so much.
Man.
He's so great.
I love that guy. He's so great.
He is. I absolutely love him. I saw him. Was it on Halloween?
Yeah, because he
or the day before. It was something like that.
Yeah.
We went and got a bunch of cemetery dirt.
Yeah, and I have to thank you for that because the listeners don't know, but we have an interview with Matt that's going to come out fairly soon if I can ever get this behemoth of a thing edited.
To hear that one too.
Right, but it was entirely because he was hanging out with you, and he was just like, "Hey, I think I'll head over there if that's cool." And I was like, yes, thank God.
Yeah, he said it was really spur of the moment. We ended up like not hanging out super late, not for any big reason. I think like my partner Mouse was like cleaning the house or something, and it was just loud in here. But yeah, anyway, so we chilled for a while and then he headed over there. So right before he came to see you, yeah, we were digging up cemetery dirt.
That's some real fucking witch shit right there, though. You know,
it is.
Like, what were you doing before the interview? Digging up fucking cemetery dirt
all day long.
All right. Well, you know, Matt's a great way to segue into this because Matt's also a huge proponent of this. But so you said that you don't think people understand tech magic.
No, I think it's not so much. Well, I think they would understand it if they gave it more of a chance. You know what I mean? But there's just aversion. There's an aversion to even paying attention to it. And maybe that's out of intimidation. I don't know. But it's a shame because it's so underestimated as being useful. But if people want to sleep on it, that's fine. I'll ride this wave with Matt. That's one of our soapboxes that we bitch about a lot. So.
Yeah, I think I think intimidation's a good word for it. I think a lot of people aren't particularly versed in any ideas about like what you're doing other than like, I don't know, I can make a sigil online. I guess that's tech magic. People don't see the wide breadth of possibilities in it.
Yeah, it kind of takes an artistic mind, I guess.
Yeah.
Or an inventive mind. I don't know, but it's a fucking shame because it's so useful.
Yeah, I think there's part of it that's like people find it kind of hokey. Like I remember when I first started.
There's some parts of it that get shit on outright.
Well, you know, I've had people straight up tell me stuff like I remember I used like an online tarot reader type thing for something, and I posted a screenshot of it, and someone's first response was like, you can't do real readings with the internet. This isn't fucking."
No, check this out. See, that's one of my biggest pet peeves right there. You nailed it. And the traditional crowd, I will say, of witches really look down on it. They really shit on it. And I think part of it, maybe they think it's tacky. I don't know, but they just don't give it any credit for being legitimately useful. And if you break it down, like, why wouldn't it be? It's as random. Tarot cards are just a tool. A computer is just a tool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just tell people, like, what's the difference between having fancy images on cardboard and fancy images on a computer screen, right?
My readings I do are all by hand with cards because people don't want to see that shit, you know, online readings because like we were saying, they don't think it's legitimate. But for myself, I do a lot of personal readings. I use Chaos Tarot, Trinary all the time.
You know, I was telling Matt last night, I genuinely use the sigil generator on Trinary.
Me too.
So much. Like it's just
regularly.
I mean, part of it's just the convenience of it, and like why are you shitting on
so much stuff in one place?
I know, it's insane.
Yeah, I apologize if I'm talking over you. I'm not used to the interview process.
No,
So I'm a
I
little
mean,
extra
first off,
chatty. I'm gonna
if
try to
anyone
simmer
if
down a
anyone
little.
wants to sit here and complain about people talking over me, I'm just going to remind them I have a podcast where it's just me talking over my co-host, so
Oh,
you
okay.
get
Well,
plenty
that's
of
good.
that.
Yeah, I don't
You
want
guys,
to turn it into an Octavia monologue, so I'm gonna simmer down a
I
little.
would sit here and just be happy to hear it, so don't worry about that.
Oh well, yeah, I can be entertaining sometimes, especially when I'm kind of baked on edibles. So, but yeah, the digital divination, people are just sleeping on it, and it's a shame. Honestly, it's their loss because it's just more tools in your toolbox that you could do to, you know, get effective shit done.
Right, and I think chaos magic as a whole, I mean the community of it as a whole, I think is a little they're obviously the more accepting branch of that sort of thing,
Oh, for
but
sure. Well, we embrace change easier.
right.
A lot of the older people don't at all. But a lot of the younger people now are seeing this and embracing it and jumping on it much more so than you know, people that are a little older. I
Yeah.
think that's unfortunate too. I don't know, but people get stuck in their ways, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And I mean, I part of doing like for instance like divination stuff like part of it I you just enjoy the feeling of doing it with your hands too. So there's a weird
Yeah,
balancing act of what if it works for you just based on how you feel about it. So I can kind of
for
understand that.
sure, for
But
sure.
there's a lot more to tech magic that just gets completely reviled. And I mean, I've been
That's
guilty of it.
almost the worst. That's
Yeah.
the worst shit I've heard talked is about the divination.
Yeah, that is the big one. The other big one, and I'm guilty of it just because I have lots of strong opinions about AI. But did you see right when the AI image craze started taking off, someone was like
That's been
using it to make
interesting.
sigils and shit, and they're like, "What
Hmm.
about AI creating their own magic and stuff?" And I saw people legitimately freak out about that, which was funny, but also like,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
so
know.
strange. It's kind of surreal.
Yeah.
It is probably pretty out there though, to a lot of people, to be honest. So I shouldn't be so blasé.
Well, I mean, I suppose I think like especially people that are just coming into it. That's probably going to be one of the weirdest things in the world for them.
That's true.
The idea of like I found a copy of the Goetian. I've been reading that, and then suddenly I just see, oh yeah, AI are making sigils now. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole has been this whole like I'm not going to call it a trend, but I guess this whole moment that people are noticing AI more is interesting. I use it for art a lot. I have been for quite a while. But I make like art sigils.
Hmm.
My whole Instagram is a hyper sigil.
Really now.
Yeah, I go in with it.
I mean, your Insta's probably the most interesting one that pops up in my feed more often than not.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Thank you. I appreciate
it's
that.
good stuff. Like,
It's small. I think it like freaks people out, a lot of people out. Because my numbers are quite small. But thank you. I appreciate hearing
well,
that.
more
I
people
have a
need
lot
to
of
get
fun
into
doing
it.
it.
It's so good. But I wanted to ask you, what made you start posting the daily lunar influence thing days? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, I wanted to do a daily content, and I've had a real problem with doing like the readings of the day with cards
mm-hmm.
because they feel, and this is might piss people off, but it feels very horoscopy to me.
Oh yeah, it totally does.
Yeah, and it's just planetary energy is much more um less open, like just to apply to everyone. I guess I want to say if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I
Um,
definitely get that.
I wanted something that was more applicable. Not that readings of the day can't be good or useful, but it just didn't feel to me like it resonated with a lot of people. So I was like, you know, just rolling ideas around, and I decided that one was going to be the most useful, I guess, to
Yeah.
people.
Well, it's something I don't hear people bringing up a lot. In fact, I think a lot of the times the only time I see anyone talking about your lunar influence for the day is when I see like daily horoscope type things that are astrology based.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it's been interesting because I'm not even gonna lie, I was I can't remember what day it was or what the reading was obviously, but I read one of them and while I was on the fence about whether or not I was gonna go through with a working that day, and I saw it and I was like,
Mhm.
well, the moon's on my side, so let's go for it.
Yeah. I actually factor in all the related aspects with other planets too. So if there are aspects between the moon and any other planet, I figured those in the like I can figure that in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every day.
Nice.
It's fun. I like it. And honestly, it's like a life hack, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at your site earlier and I noticed you used the phrase life hack, which is, I was like, part of me kind of cringed for a moment because I was like, oh, life hack, magic life. But then I thought about it and I was like, honestly, that's
It's
probably.
very simplified.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
I mean,
I think a lot of us, especially people that have been doing it for a long time, start to lose a lot of the joy of just using magic to make your life simpler.
yeah.
We get
Yeah.
very, anyone who spent a month and a half like trying to invoke their holy guardian angel or whatever like that doesn't want to like sit there and be like, nah, you know what I really need is I need a server to help me keep my room organized. You're like, man, I'm following my true will. My room's just gonna be dirty.
I'm not going to say too much on that one. But yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, since you've been doing it for, I guess it's 4 years now, because it's 2022. But you
doing what, the chaos magic?
Well, no, yeah, professional stuff. You said,
since 2018.
Yeah. So, what made you want to make the jump into that, other than just the obvious money?
I just wanted to work for myself and like enjoy what I do. And it's crazy because I've always wanted to do that, but it wasn't until 2018 that I was in a position to really do it.
Yeah.
And that's really the biggest reason, is that I wanted to be self-employed doing something that I loved. So I got on my grind and went for it. It's a lot of work, too.
Oh, I'd imagine. I can't even begin to fathom because
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, just trying to promote the site and the podcast on this end is a huge chore. And I told myself when I started this, it's like, we're not going to make any money off of this. I have no desire to make money off of it, really, but
it's difficult.
Yeah.
And it's a saturated market, too, with readers.
Right, yeah.
So you really do kind of have to stand out and be really reputable before you're going to make any money. At least with the reading, with the full-time occulting, not with the podcast stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I think I think your statement applies a bit to this as well, but.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Definitely. It's a lot of work. Like, you have to put a lot of fucking effort into it.
What's the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome with it? Like, was it really just being able to gain a reputation?
The biggest hurdle I've had, honestly, is myself. And it's patience. I've had a hard time being patient and letting it grow. I've done a lot of meditation on patience the last 4 years. Because it doesn't happen right away overnight, It takes some time and effort and motivation and grind and everything. And I've gotten much better about it. But at first, like the first year, I was very impatient. And that definitely has been my biggest problem. I'm bad with time management too. So that's been a hurdle. I would make more money if I was better with time management.
We all would.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's universally applicable.
Yeah. As we both sit here being like, first you were like, hey, can we start like a half hour later? And then a half hour later, I'm popping up like, all right, give me like 10, 15 minutes.
Exactly. Yes. Case in point. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
It all works out though. What are you going to do? I enjoy life. So I'm happy with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got here. That's all I care about.
Exactly.
I always like asking this for readers in particular because I think it's sort of, it's something that demonstrates the kind of clientele you end up getting. Like, what's the weirdest thing someone ever asked you to do a reading for?
Oh, I am not even going to say it.
Oh, God, that bad, huh?
It's that bad. I've had gnarly requests. Let me tell you. I've cut people off, clients off for some requests that they've done. Yeah, I don't even want to say for a public forum. Yeah. I'll hit you up later, though. We can have a private convo about that. There's some wild ones, but
that's
not for public consumption.
Right? Yeah, they don't need to hear these sorts of things, I suppose.
They don't. All the dirty secrets.
My other question, I think, is do you find that it's mostly like spooky woo-woo people that are coming to you for readings, or do you get a lot of people that are like, I don't understand magic at all, but you seem like you know what the hell you're talking about?
I'm going to say it's 70-30. Yeah. 70% of my clients are into this sort of thing. I have a large amount of clients that have lots of practice experience. And that's like crazy because I'm pretty thankful that somebody, knowledgeable would trust me enough. But then like 30% of my clients aren't into this sort of thing at all. Professionally or full time or, in their own life. I get like soccer moms, Cabernet, wine drinkers.
Yeah. Is little Timmy gonna make it onto the
Yeah.
JV team? Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
really wholesome shit. Like,
aw. Well, that's
I get lots of relationship questions
yeah.
from everybody though across the board.
I'm curious because this came up while we were discussing tarot last night, Matt and I. How much stock do you put into tarot as a actual sort of how do I want to phrase this? What makes tarot different than just any other form of kind of like, I guess like maybe the word we use is like cold reading, taking any sort of symbology or trying to read anything and gain some sort of insight out of it? Because Matt was very much on the fence that it's like there's like you can do
There
anything.
really isn't. I mean, divination is as divination does. Well, honestly, like they're all tools, and some are more complex than others. There is a lot more symbolism and correspondences in tarot than there is in like throwing bones, but
yeah. But at the end of the day, it's sort of the same thing.
it really is, honestly. Some takes more intuition than others. But
oh yeah, I can't like anytime I've seen anyone read tea, I've always just been fascinated because it's like I do not see half the shit. All I see are some tea leaves. I'm not getting any of the
that's
subtlety
the thing,
here.
I guess. I guess there's a difference. I guess because anybody could pick up a tarot deck and learn to be good at it, but not everyone is going to legitimately be able to learn how to read tea leaves in a way that's accurate. Either you have a knack for that sort of thing or you don't. So like either you're touched or not.
Yeah, I
Either
see
you've
that.
got some weird psychic abilities or you don't. And you can't really learn that so much. You can refine it and, you can improve on what you've already got. But yeah, some people have more of a knack for it than others. And the people that don't learn how to read tarot cards.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Get some I Ching.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of divination choices. You don't have to be an intuitive reader, or I'm not going to use the term psychic. That's scary. But you don't have to be weird. You don't have to be touched in the head.
I don't know. I think being psychic's a weird kind of crossover for me in the occult community, right?
It is. Oh, definitely.
Because so much of it is grounded in this idea of like, oh, these ancient forces and, metaphysical mythology type things. It's like whenever I see the UFO crowd start busting up into magic groups, it's like I don't want to.
Yeah, no, you're right. Totally.
I don't want to say that like you don't belong here, but it's just like you
that's
definitely.
why like I don't go around identifying as a psychic.
Oh,
you know
right.
what I mean? Nor would I ever. But at the same time, like I've always had dream precognition and just weird shit. I'm a fucking weirdo, But I leave all that out of things when I'm, talking to people or explaining my practice and stuff. Because you're right, it is a whole different world, a whole different crowd.
Yeah,
that I don't mix with really, and more power to them.
Yeah, I mean, you're out there doing your thing, and I appreciate it. I don't quite understand it, but I'm happy for you.
Right, exactly. It's like angel numbers, I don't know.
God.
That's fine. Be happy. Do what you do. But,
I'm not going down.
It's not
this
my cup of tea.
Yeah,
particularly.
Right. I think from a chaos magic perspective, that's part of what lets me be so willing to just say like that's not my jam. Because it's like, I can entertain this idea, and if I really felt like it was going to be something useful, I'd find a way to integrate it into a practice of some kind. But
absolutely, that's what there's so much more freedom.
But there's always certain levels of things. It's like I'm just not going to get into this. It's never going to work for me because I'm just shaking my head when I see it.
Same, twin flames. There's a lot of those. I'm not going to go down that road talking shit about people. I don't want to be an asshole. But yeah, it's just not my cup of tea, really.
What else did I have here? Oh, well, you said you're writing 3 books. I gotta know what they're about.
Oh, nice. Thank you for asking. The first one, I guess I'll bring up first because I can plug a different one, is just a book of poetry, like a chapbook of poetry. And I already have one of those published. You can get it on Amazon.
Ooh.
I didn't publish it. It was West Vine Press that published it.
Okay.
And I'm working on another one for them. So that's that. The second one, actually, Ricky and I are working on a book together.
Hey!
And that's, yeah. And it's going to be spectacular. Just let me tell you. It has to do with like dream work.
Yeah. Ricky's real big into dream work right now too. Right.
And like in textbook form. So yeah, we're going to help the masses.
That's great.
We're going to do good for the community.
About time somebody did, right?
We're out here being wholesome as fuck.
Well, since it's on Dreamwork, and being a Lacanian, I have to ask everybody, what's your theory on dreams then? Like, what's going on there?
Question.
It is a big question, but we're here to ask the big questions.
That's a lot. What is my view on just dreams in general?
Yeah.
I guess it's a very Jungian view right off the bat. A lot of it is psychological, subconscious coming up. But I think there's also, I don't know, I'm not going to say parallel worlds, but you can visit places, I guess I want to say. Things can visit you. So it's almost like liminal space. So it's a mix of things. There's a lot of subconscious things rolling around there at night that have been on your mind during the day. Might have some weird spirit visits. Who knows? I mean, I think it's a lot. That a lot goes into what makes up dreaming.
Yeah, it's I think that's why dreams are such an interesting phenomena from the occult perspective.
Very, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, and as far back as Freud, everyone has had theories on what dreams are about. And
exactly. Especially Jung went with it even harder than Freud. And,
oh yeah.
He's done a lot for the occult community.
Oh right, yeah, and it's funny because I was very staunch Jungian for many years of my life, and the most interesting thing I think about the Jungian community is that a lot of them are very magical people that don't want to admit what they're doing is magic.
Right. What's funny to me too is he was a firm believer in astrology and did natal charts on all his clients, and there's some people that don't want to hear that, but
yeah, right.
But it's true. Yeah,
I remember I was reading, in Memories, Dreams, Reflections, he talks about
that's my favorite book of his, actually.
Yeah, it's so good.
Well, if you want to say it's partially by him, but that's my favorite one.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, he has the whole thing where he's talking about being at seances and doing all these various things. It's like Jung's a very spooky dude. He's all into this.
Spooky dude. Yeah, and like his whole Red Book concept, that's some spooky shit.
Oh god.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll tell you the third book also, before I forget, is this is a more long this is a longer term project, but I'm writing a book on necromancy too.
Oh.
Modern necromancy, yeah.
Modern necromancy. So you're raising the dead with your iPhone.
Yeah, there'll be some history in there because that's, important. But most of it is just going to be about what can you do with it right now. I'm not going to go on about, John Dee for fucking 200 pages. But.
I'm curious because necromancy is one of those things that a lot of people in the occult community even kind of view as like, oh, that's like fantasy nonsense and so on and so forth.
Sure.
Yeah,
and it seems it's funny because a lot of my practice is composed of shit people don't like, kind of some far out there stuff, pop magic. A lot of people don't want to hear about that either. I'm developing, the Sanrio characters.
Yeah,
I'm developing servitors. Based on all the Sanrio characters. And there's like 80 of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's a long-term project.
I was going to say, talk about long-term
totally
projects.
Sure what I'm going to do with that yet. But yeah, no, necromancy gets some flack for that. And the funniest thing is it's really essentially just divination via the dead.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. And that's how it started literally. But then it, morphs into more just death magic. And now it's, both. But yeah, I don't know why. Truthfully, I don't know why people think it's corny. Death is or not necessarily corny, but just like fantasy. Death is a huge part of the world. Huge part of the world. Huge energy in the world. So why wouldn't that be useful,
I don't want to speculate too hard here, but I've always thought that our cultural disavowal of death is a lot to do with why things like that get.
Fuck yes.
We in the modern Western world live as if we're given this sort of ethical idea that they tell you like live every day like it should be like it could be your last.
Yeah. People don't like to think about death.
Right.
They don't like to think about it. It's sanitized. It bothers people. It triggers people. And it's funny, too, because if you look at the Victorian era, they were so sex repressed and death obsessed. And we're like the total opposite now.
Yeah, we're sex obsessed and death repressed.
Yeah, I mean, they're both useful, but utilize both. Do yourself a favor.
Well, you can't have one without the other.
You cannot. No, you cannot. But yeah, it's just another, just like tech magic, it's another really useful tool if people would dig into it and be a little more open-minded. Their practices would probably be a lot more successful.
We
That's
spend
a spicy take.
we
That's a
spend more
spicy
than enough
take, and I'm
time telling
sorry,
people on
but
this podcast about how they could be
just
more
saying.
successful by doing the most basic things like reading. But
Get your shit together.
clean your room, bucko. Oh, I just have to ask. So, if given that your book's not going to be coming out for a while, if
No.
if people were interested in trying to get into necromancy, what would you suggest for them?
Oh, what would I suggest for them? Oh my goodness. Just do a lot of reading. Do
Yeah.
a lot of reading and research see, there's not a good source to suggest to people. And that's kind of why I'm writing the book. I don't have a good source to tell somebody. I could talk to them about my personal experiences. But as far as like referencing them to a good book or a good website,
go read this person.
If they're out there, I really don't know about them. So maybe, your listeners can fill me in. Anyone that asks me about it in private, I just tell them all based on my personal experience, which I'm more than happy to do, actually, if anybody wants to hit me up. It's a fascinating topic, and I don't mind leading people, the noobs, in the right direction, the baby wishes. Gatekeeping is gross.
Well, hey, that pulls us into the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is something I've been picking at people a lot more so when I feel like they have something interesting to say about it. But how do you feel about the proliferation of the occult in the online communities?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it. And I think just like always, the people that don't really care are going to get weeded out, and the serious ones will keep going. And I look at it like global takeover. The more occultists, the better. Let's all fucking get on board. So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't offend me at all. Like, I'm not an elitist about it. I think it can genuinely make your life way better. Why wouldn't, I want people to experience that.
I feel like the kind of people that tend to have really bad opinions towards the online occult community tend to be people that are, I don't know, they, like I said, they're either trads or, God forbid, they're people that are like fucking magic fascist types and shit like that.
Yeah. Trads are the worst, honestly.
God.
They're some of the worst. Like, they're the worst gatekeepers I've ever witnessed in the occult community online. And don't get me wrong, like, I painting a rosy picture of all these baby witches getting on board, and it's great. I'm totally supportive of it. But I will also say, at the same time, talking specifically about like social media culture, there is a lot of toxicity.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to get at too. I think it's just that there's
Oh, you want more spicy takes?
Oh God, yes, obviously. How else are we gonna get people to listen? But no. I think that
Fair.
I do think that there's a lot of people that have these sort of, I guess I can't come up with a better word than elitist views towards magic. And
for sure.
I guess because it makes them feel like they're a special snowflake and they get to do whatever they want.
Yeah, and they like to talk about it all day long and like argue about it and compare dick size and argue. There's toxic people in every subgroup, I guess. So.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. It's like there's just
a large portion of humanity is toxic, so I don't know why it'd be different.
Yeah, at least 50%.
Oh yeah. Well, you're being real generous.
Well, we tried.
But I'm not a pessimist, but like I'm a deep realist as far as that goes. I'm not I don't give people a lot of credit anymore.
I'm stealing the deep realist term.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and as far as my experience in the occult communities online, it's like, it's like anywhere else you go. You meet certain people that are really fucking cool. I met you. That's awesome. I've
met some of the coolest people in my life that I love the most.
Yeah.
And like from CMG, actually.
Oh,
so
wow.
For as many assholes as are there, or as many, toxic spores, I've met a ton of cool people. So it is hard to bitch too hard about.
Yeah, you got to take the good with the bad in these sorts of situations, I think.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, if it bothers me that bad, I just don't participate. And it's funny, like, who was it? Tyler, the Creator, was going on about online bullying, right? And
how is cyberbullying a thing? Just close your eyes. Turn the screen off.
Exactly.
I love you. You're my favorite person just because I've used it.
I think he did a tweet on that pissed people off.
Oh, yeah. They were furious.
Yeah, he's good at that. He's a hoot. I've loved him since, like, he came out, though. I've been preaching his gospel.
Oh, yeah.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah, he's a spooky little dude, too. He's definitely got some...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's kept that much more undercover for the last number of albums, though, and I think that's been really beneficial for his career. So.
Oh, right. Well, he had
more power to him, but yeah,
he had the big shift with Flower Boy.
A lot of deep spookiness going on there.
Yeah, but I mean, still, I love the guy. I love his music. He does great stuff.
Me too. He's very talented, immensely talented.
Oh yeah, very inspiring for my music.
He's into some weird shit.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, turn it off if you don't want to be involved in a culture toxicity. Dip, you know.
I mean, I've done it. I've straight up left.
Do.
Yeah, sometimes you have to.
I have to take breaks.
Yeah,
to maintain my sanity, and that's not from everyone, but it's being in that space and forum in particular. I still talk to my friends privately, but yeah, I do need to take breaks from like Facebook, especially.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Instagram, I don't as much. I don't need to take breaks from that as much. But there's not as many, assholes bickering. So
I get my fair share still, but maybe it's just because we're really spicy over at CMN.
Yeah, I do get more scammers on Instagram, but that's just funny to me usually. I get more trolls on Instagram too. But that's just funny to me too.
Yeah.
So that's highly entertaining shit right there.
Definitely. To go into our most beloved segment during our interviews, we have our reader and listener submitted questions.
Ooh,
which we
I saw your post on that. I'm stoked.
I was worried that I posted it.
I saw it way earlier, so I don't know what else it may have been on it, but I'm stoked to hear them.
All right. Well, here's our questions from the nuts. I'll just start with this because I know Matt asked this one and he's already waiting for an answer. So,
he already knows the answer.
I mean, he does, but he wants to hear you say
he just wants you all to hear the answer, which I love that.
Matt literally just says money magic, necromancy, and gators. We already touched on necromancy. So what's the story with money magic and gators?
I have to say, yeah. I have a lot of strong views on money magic and prosperity magic that are also like kind of hot takes that people shit on. So I'm all around the periphery.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I'll go with the alligators first. I had a very interesting experience with alligators. When I was 13, I lived in really southern Gulf Coast, Florida for a year, and I spent a lot of time. I would sneak out of my house at night and go sit on the canal banks and like talk to alligators and hang out with them. And I spent a year doing that. And later on, I ended up moving to New Orleans, and I did some camping out in the bayous and stuff, and I'd go out there and adventure. And so I've had a lot of close encounters with gators, and they've been a huge part of my life, and just in general, and my practice. I have a 9-foot gator skull right next to me right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As someone
who also... I have bones everywhere.
Oh.
That's one of my faves.
I'm just going to say the episode's just going to be Talking Bones with Octavia and Alvin.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's perfect. Yeah. But yeah, no, I have like a deep connection to alligators from when I was really young. So that's important to me. And Matt knows about that. And anything that's important to me in that personal, not anything, but a lot of things I have incorporated into my practice and into different paradigms. So that's one of them that I've always kept in my life and close to me. What was the other one? Money magic. Yeah, people really I guess simply put, people tend to think it just won't work. You know what I mean? Or can't work.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's funny too, because it does. It does legitimately. I've had so much. And don't get me wrong, I mean, you have to look at it realistically. But if you do workings for money magic, money will get to you in the path of least resistance. It's not going to you know,
Yeah,
grow in your
it's
backyard.
very unlikely that you're gonna end up doing money magic and you're gonna have a rich relative that you didn't know about die and give you $1 million.
That's happened. That's happened twice, actually, to Michael and I. We've gotten checks from lawsuits that we didn't even know about, all kinds of crazy shit. But that's where that all comes from. And we're pretty, happy and comfortable in life. And I really attribute a lot of that to money workings that I've done to
Wow.
help out the cause.
I need to get back up on money magic then because I need some.
I'm telling you, do it. I've got a few things like I'll DM you and hit you up about too.
Thank you.
Few tips if you want to.
Thanks for not sharing with the listeners, so
no,
I can keep my money.
I'm not certain that they deserve it. So,
all right.
But yeah, it's like open your mind. I guess I want to tell people. You tell yourself it's not gonna work. It's not gonna fucking work.
It's the age-old thing with belief is a tool, right? If you're
absolutely, yeah.
If you can't at least believe in it enough to try it, then it's not going to fucking work, obviously. But
exactly,
if you sit there telling yourself,
and then you're playing yourself,
yeah,
before you even start,
yeah, congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah, well done, sir. Well done, madam.
All right. So someone wanted to hear how'd they phrase this? I would like to hear what is Octavia's ritual for her amazing card readings, if I'm allowed to ask. Well, I guess the first question would be, do you have a specific ritual that you do to get into the space?
Right. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that's a lot less common than,
Yeah. Maybe some people do. I don't know, but no, I don't. And like I said, as far as if you may ask, I came into this open to any questions. So, but no, I don't. I mean, nothing external, I guess I want to say. I meditate and I clear myself internally, but that's really it. I don't have any external source rituals that I, feel like I have to do before I'll do a reading. I'll do a reading anywhere.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Right now. Do it.
You want a reading done right now? What do you? Well, okay.
I was kidding
really?
entirely.
Are you joking or what?
I was kidding entirely.
Oh, okay. Because I would. I don't care.
She was ready for it, folks. She sat back and everything.
It's not casual for me. I don't think it's casual at all. It's like an amazing tool, but yeah, I don't need any rituals beforehand. But that's a great question, and I'm sure a lot of people do. Actually,
yeah, I'm sure somebody does
to some small degree, or at least just repetitive things that they do to help themselves. But
yeah, I have a little invocation that I do whenever I'm shuffling cards, but it's not really a particularly deep thing. Yeah. Like it's not. I wouldn't even call it a ritual. It's more of like that's
like a light. It's a ritual light.
Yeah,
L-I-T-E.
It's like the quick Hail Mary.
Right. Reader's Digest version.
Yeah. All right. What else we have? Ooh, this is actually an oddly specific question. This is someone that must know you. I want to know how she practices hoodoo as a Luciferian. How does she still call on the Christian? Does she still call on the Christian God, or does she adjust it for her beliefs? So that's something we didn't even bring up at all. Would you describe yourself as a Luciferian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You want to give me the quick definition of that? So for people that maybe don't know.
I definitely do. I also subscribe to the Haitian worldview, I guess I want to say, when it comes to God. And this kind of surprises people sometimes, but like I'm monotheistic. I really only believe in one God.
Ooh.
And that God, I believe, has nothing to do with us. Doesn't give a shit about us. And is basically just some sort of the universe at large situation that we don't understand. Real common to like the Jesuit view.
Right, yeah. I was kind of deist.
Yeah. So no, I don't engage with God for various reasons, but that's a big one because God just doesn't care. So
do not pray to me. I will not answer.
No. But yeah, and as far as what was the hoodoo question again? What part was how do I practice both?
As a Luciferian is
now strangely enough, they fit together beautifully because hoodoo is Christian based. And so is Luciferianism.
Okay.
Well, no, it is. They use saints. It's very Catholic based.
Yeah, right. That's the way I would
describe it. To narrow it down
it.
Further. But, between where we're at and God, there's spirit in between. And that's anything could be considered Loa, really, with that worldview. but that's where the saints lie. That's where Buddha lives. That's where, and that's who you talk to intercede, within your life. So those things, I guess I don't understand how they wouldn't fit together.
Well,
yeah, there's no real.
Just for simplicity's sake, how would you define Luciferianism then? Like what?
Oh, okay. Well, more in the traditional. Now, I know a lot of people look at it as more a metaphor, the bringer of light and everything.
Mhm.
For it's more of an enlightenment thing, personal enlightenment thing. And of course, there's Satanists who Church of Satan people and all that, and will have nothing to do with that. So I refuse to call myself a Satanist for that reason. So there's that. But then there's also, I guess I want to say, the literalists or traditionalists who do believe in that worldview, that there is such a thing that exists,
right? Yeah,
that you can commune with.
yeah. There's the bad God that you can go talk to if you fuck up too bad.
Exactly. And honestly, and that's a huge part of life. Look at it's Saturn energy, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like another correspondence, worldwide. It's there. That belief is there. Even with Loa, like Papa Legbutt has a nighttime counterpart.
Ooh.
Ah.
That's because I know my co-host is going to be curious about this. They might already know, and I'm just being stupid. But who's the?
I'll DM you about that. I'll DM you
okay. I'll throw that out for them again.
Yeah,
listeners,
and you're welcome to share what I talk about with it. But I don't know that the world needs to hear about that, especially from me of all people. So. And the funny thing is I'm not totally white, but I sure as hell look totally white. So it's not my place to go around teaching people about that sort of magic.
Yeah, well, but
I will hit you up about that.
Sure,
because it's really interesting.
Yeah, please do. And I also feel you on the looking white but not being totally white gang. I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. I'm Puerto Rican and no one knows, especially with a name like Kennedy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am partially Creole.
Oh, okay. Well, what else do we have here? Oh, someone wants to ask, is collecting tarot decks a form of addiction?
To a lot of people, yeah. I know collectors that have hundreds of decks, like just insane, and readily admit it's addictive. Personally, I don't like to keep more than 10 decks. And of those 10 decks, they're all in my regular rotation. I use them regularly. And I don't like owning more decks than I regularly use. And there's no superstitious reason for that. There's no spiritual reason for that. It's just a personal preference. But if I have a deck that, has reached the end of the line with me, I'll gift it to somebody else and buy a new one. But so no, to answer your question, I don't think it's addictive to me personally, but it is to a lot of people for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's the same as any other sort of collection,
Yeah, Matt collects.
Yeah, which is interesting given his personal opinions on them, but
he's an odd duck. Bless his heart. Yeah.
All right, what else do we have? Oh, we have one more goofy question.
What's that?
Do you fuck around and find out? If yes, what have you found out and what was fucked around?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I spent, I will say, from the ages of 15 to 35 fucking around and finding out. And my entire 20s was spent fucking around and finding out. And I found out a lot of fucked up shit, and I fuck around a lot less. I guess. How's that?
That's a great answer.
All right, perfect.
Well, I have one more question from one of our dear listeners, and it's really about your name. So I was curious, where's the name come from, or is that a secret?
That's a great question. I started using that name a very long time ago when I lived in DC. I guess it was like 2000, and that was for art and writing projects. And there were various reasons that I wanted to use an alias. It was a weird political time, and I was doing political zines for one. And I didn't want my real name out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was certain art things, like I did, guerrilla street art. You don't want to advertise that. So I started using it for that. I picked it totally based on esoteric ideas. Numerology, it fits. 8 is like my lucky number. I'm a history nerd, so Octavia and the Romans,
I was
Saturday is actually, I've worked with, I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
I was actually really curious if it was a Roman reference, because every time I see
It
it,
is.
that's what I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'm a huge history nerd. But also like I've been practicing New Orleans style voodoo hoodoo for a very long time. And samedi is just French for Saturday. French and Creole for Saturday.
Right, right.
And I've worked with him. I've worked with the Barons so much that I have a very fatherly feeling toward them. So I took Saturday as a last name. The last name fits numerology, from a numerological, a numerology basis. And from the numerology basis I'm talking about is the more Kabbalic system.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or the Kabbalic system is what I use, the Judaic system. But so it fits there. But other than that, the Saturday just means from the Baron aspect. The Octavia has more going into it. But so yeah, that's how I picked it. And I started using it, for what I said. And then eventually, social media came along. And I kind of decided I wanted to be an internet ghost. So I just started using it. And then when I started doing the occulting full time, I wanted to separate my personal life from it, at least publicly.
Right.
So I just kept using that name. I just kept using it for tons of stuff. I publish my poetry under that name. Yeah, so I'm a long time internet ghost. Right from the start. I don't want to challenge people to figure out my real name, so don't take it that way. But yeah, no, I guess I'm just a really intensely private person too. So that's a lot of it.
Well, you kind of have to be, especially if you're willing to put yourself out there in such a professional instance too.
It's a smart move.
Yeah, you got to be able to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, there's scary people in the world.
That's why everyone's just, you got letter S, letter M Kennedy from me. It's like, could you find out my name?
Matt,
but
too,
yeah,
uses an alias. And I've had people hit me up and threaten to kill me and chop me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All kinds of crazy shit. So the more I can keep myself removed from that sort of thing, I do. And then at the same time, too, there's a certain amount of mythology with it that all comes from me personally, but it's my lore.
You gotta have lore.
It's my
You gotta have lore.
You do, yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So that's sort of my outlandish side that I feel more free, just talking shit. Because I'm not a shy person, but I'm a very quiet person. So most of my shit talk is pretty low key.
Well, this has been one of the best interviews we've done. I can't thank you enough for coming on.
You. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel better. I was incredibly nervous about this the whole time.
Oh no, I had a really fun time, and I was really looking forward to it. So,
oh, thanks. Yeah, it's just
fun.
You're one of those people that have been on my periphery for so long, and everyone tells me how cool you are, and I'm just like, I'm gonna mess it up, and everyone's gonna think I'm terrible because no, she didn't like you. You fucked up.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm so easy to get along with. I'm so low key chill. I think I'm on the periphery of a lot of things in a lot of ways on a lot of levels.
Well, hopefully,
I like to keep it that way. But I'm glad we finally linked up, and thank you for inviting me on my first podcast appearance.
Yeah. Well, you won't be as on the periphery now. Everyone's gonna be looking at you.
No, I won't. I really need to make that leap though. So this is good. This will be motivating.
Yeah, this is a nice baby step. We're nice fringe occult podcast. You can get into the bigger ones later.
So when I blow up, you can say, this is my first gig.
Well, do you have where can the listeners find you?
Oh, just look up my socials, Octavia Saturday. There aren't any other ones. You'll find it all. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr. If you look up Petite Botanica, that's mostly just my Tumblr, but just look up Octavia Saturday. And then just go down that rabbit hole. Instagram, I'm very active on.
Yeah.
So you can look me up there too. But all my stuff's public. And I do have pricing lists up on everything. They're all business pages.
Sweet. And we'll have links to all of that in the episode description and stuff for all you dear listeners to check out. So
wonderful.
With that, this has been Chaos Magic News, the only news podcast that is still getting all of our headlines through necromancy. As always, if you or a loved one have not been initiated into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn yet, please get at us. We're trying to make that our next project for the year. Just everyone will be in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn by the end of 2023.
I love that.
You can check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Chaos Magic News. We're on Twitter at Chaos Magic News, and of course we have the lovely website, which we have all the interviews, links to the podcast and articles, everything you could ever possibly want for us. And with that, Octavia, would you like the last word?
Oh, no. That's too much pressure. I'll say ciao. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Well,
can I hit this vape real
quick? I've been hitting my vape the entire time. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, I feel like it's loud, so I didn't want to do it. But thank you.
We have the wonders of sound editing with this.
Beautiful. Perfect. Thank you. I'm definitely nicotine addicted. I'm addicted to my vapes.
Yeah, me too. I really need to quit.
It sucks. It's the only thing that's gotten the best of me.
Yeah,
so far.
It's weird, right? I feel like there's no addiction quite like nicotine.
There isn't. No.
Everything else, every other addiction I've had in my life, I've had no problem just deciding finally I'm fucking done and just willing my way through it.
Cold turkey.
Yeah, and then fucking, but nicotine, man, nicotine's just too
No, nicotine's
easy.
one. Nicotine's beat me so far, for sure.